In 2 months, I graduate high school. Um, and obviously, I've been feeling a lot of ways about that. I am attending a tier one research university. Um, Wherein I'll be a member of the honors college, planning on being a bio major. There are a lot of opportunities for me. If I wanted, I could do an accelerated track to get a master's degree within 5 years. I'm interested in exercise science. I also have the option to spend 5 years, 3 years as a biology major, and then spend 2 extra years getting a master's in biomedical engineering. Isn't that crazy? So, in that regard, I'm doing fine. I'm looking forward a great deal to going to university and the opportunities that will arise. I have plenty of assets. I have a 3.9 GPA, and I know grades aren't everything, but they count. And even without that, I'm bilingual. I have a very solid resume. I do a lot of volunteering. I don't think I am necessarily exceptional by university standards, but um, I have faith that if I put the work in, if I do what I need to do, and I know I'm capable of that, and um, I continue furthering myself like I have, then I think I'm in a position where opportunities can absolutely arise, and I have reason to be optimistic. And I toured my college yesterday. It went great. The campus seems great. I managed to put myself out there and talk to people. People seem nice. Um, I feel happy about all that. Nonetheless, it's still a big thing to think about, the fact that I'm going to be leaving high school. Um, I came into my high school from a different school than everybody else. Um, so I was sort of a new kid. Um, I had the two people were childhood friends of mine. Um, there was one guy whom I knew. He lived in my neighborhood. I hung out with him. Um, but in many regards, I had to rebuild my social life from practically ground zero since becoming a freshman. And my freshman year, I didn't do a good job at it. Um, Not at all. I had a lot to learn. Um, I don't know if you would say I was behind socially. You definitely say I was awkward, pretty awkward and weird. I don't know if that's entirely gone away, um, or if it will. Uh, I joined the tennis team, but I was the worst player. Um, and I don't know if the seniors exactly liked me or cared about me that much, and I barely even blame them. And that was my only extracurricular, the tennis team. Um, I met one guy whom I'm still friends with, and he's come to be one of my best friends. So I got a little something out of it, but still. Um, Throughout my time in school, I have been one of the school's unofficial translators. Some of the Hispanic kids recognize me in the hallway, even if I don't know them. The ESL teachers knew my name, before I knew who they were. I helped out the art teachers primarily, talked to the exam proctors from time to time. Um, so that's been a role I've had that I've built upon. Um, Outside of school, I'm a Spanish medical interpreter now. That's something. Um, I think it was only really when I got my license that opportunities really arose for me, if that makes sense. I didn't ever really have people over very often when I didn't have my license. That happens a lot more now. I've been reached out to in ways that I've never experienced. I've made better friends than I had because I went to a small private school. It was only 10 of us my last year of middle school. There were 10 people in the school. Um, and that's obviously a vastly different social dynamic, different implications, everything, than, a public school of 1,300 kids. My sophomore year, I made friends with a transfer. I'm still friends with her. We're hanging out tomorrow. When I got my car, my neighbor who had moved here midway through freshman year, whom I walked home from school with, asked if I could start driving her to and from school. And we've continued doing that up till now. I've come to be very close with her. Three of my friends made a group chat in order to plan my birthday party. We all ended up being too busy until something like 10 days after my birthday. But whatever. They went through the trouble to plan it and to continue figuring out when our schedules would match up right up until the day we did it. So I don't care that it wasn't on my birthday. They went through a lot of effort just because I was their friend, and I really, really appreciate that. It makes me feel very seen and very loved, and those are things that people need. Um, and I'm leaving out a lot. That's maybe 1% of the things that I could describe from my high school years. There's a whole lot. I've done a whole lot, been through a whole lot. My life has drastically changed compared to my first day of freshman year to now. I'm probably almost unrecognizable in terms of the things I've done, the experiences I've had, the people I've met, the amount of people that I continue to talk to, have a relationship with, or just hang out with. It's different. I've watched my life change for the better, or I've fought for that, and it was never easy. Um, I've lost friends too. I've cut people off, had people cut me off. Um, it hasn't all been glamorous at all. There's been really tough, really sucky times. There have, but I've muddled through, and I'm about to make it out the other end. Um, the thing is, there are 299 people in my grade, and I'm pretty sure that's been pretty consistent across the last few years. Of course, we've had transfers. I'm sure we've had dropouts, but there were 299 people in my grade this year. In terms of grades, I am ranked number 41. Do with that information what you will. It's not too bad. Right around the top six. Um, I only have a few close friends. My best friends are actually all outside of school. I would say actually the one person I hang out with the most often is the person I just happened to meet at a thrift store before my senior year even started. We've come to be really great friends. Um, I have a friend that I've kept since middle school who moved away. We're in touch online. So most of my closest relationships are outside of school. But at the same time, um, most of my close best friends are within the school. Um, it's taken me a while to get to a place where I can really truthfully say that I have friends and that I'm well liked and that I'm reached out to. Um, and I'm happy to be there. I'm not by um, many standards. Really, one of the popular kids, I don't think. Um, and I hear tangentially about plenty of stuff that goes on among them that I don't really get invited to. Um, I'm not horribly beat up about that. I guess it's just a thing in the back of my mind where like I feel like I should be offended by it, but I don't. I don't know. Um, and I don't know. It's really just horribly weird. I think to be graduating high school. I've looked at people going through this for the past 3 years, and I've never once really felt like it was imminent that it be me, that it be my turn. But of course, it is now. Um, there's 299 people in my grade. I know most of them. Um, I guess some of them I've likely never met, never seen, and I don't even know that I don't know them. But a lot of them, we know each other's names, and it's not weird if we say hi to each other in the hallways because we've been through enough by now. Um, only a few of them, relatively, are people I have hung out with outside of school or would, or, have given a ride. And fewer still are people that I'm going to make a mutual effort with to stay in touch after high school. But I'm happy. I'm happy with what I have. Um, and I'm proud of myself looking back on the work I had to do to make it there and knowing that I did. Um, but that just makes it all the weirder that I'll be leaving it all behind because even the people I don't know, I've spent the last almost 4 years in the same building as them. Um, even the people who I only ever exchange a hello with, I just say hi to them in the hallways or talk to them for a little bit, like about a class. I'm gonna miss them. I'm gonna miss all of them. I'm gonna miss having that familiarity and having that foundation that we have now with all these people. I'm gonna miss being able to see my closest friends so easily. I'm gonna miss eating lunch with them, just walking around with them in the hallways or going to some teacher's class together. I'm gonna miss that a great deal, and that feels childish to say, and I know that I'm going into the maybe not even the real world yet because I'm going to a university, but closer to the real world. It's a big next step, and it's a big difference, a big change. Um, so even the people I don't know, um, even some of the people that I actively dislike, I'll miss them a lot. Um, I'm reminding myself a little bit of the video that I made called Types of People, one of my earlier videos. Please watch it if you haven't. But, and I don't know, I have plenty of reasons to feel confident, I've managed to make good, solid, mutual friendships, and I'm confident in the people that I'm actually going to make an effort to keep in touch with, that they'll make an effort as well, and that there is something meaningful between us. Um, but I'll just miss so much having it be so easy. And the majority of these people I'm just never going to see again and never going to talk to again. And like on the surface of it, I'm not even really too beat up about it because I never did talk to them. But on the other hand, for some reason, it's just painful to know that will never have the option again, to strike up a conversation with somebody in the hallway. Um, and it's like, even if I don't know them, how can't I have at least some sort of sentimental attachment to them after spending the last 4 years surrounded by all of them? Um, I'm gonna miss the things we ascribe meaning to. I'm gonna I'm gonna miss like complaining together with everyone about like an assignment that's due or a teacher we all don't like, etc. What have you? Just all the stuff about school. I'm gonna miss the school events, and just having the option at any point if I choose that I want to go to the next football game that's happening and knowing that I might see some people there. Um, like I said, never been the most popular guy, and I've been having to rebuild my social life, because I came into the high school from a different school than everybody else. But I always did well enough that I knew I would at least have a decent time at things like that. And it's very rare for me to feel like I'm fully integrated into a friend group. There's really only one friend group where I fully feel like that. And I'm grateful that I have that. I really am. And I'm grateful to those select few people, where I'm with them and I know that I'm with my group and I'm part of it just as much as they are. Um, but nonetheless, I'm still friends with other people, like to a meaningful degree. Even if I don't feel very well integrated into many groups, um, it's not like I'm unconsidered in a lot of them. And it's just like a lot of my life has just been this, revolved around this. Um, like I said, I've had other stuff going on. I've used my summers pretty wisely, if I do say so myself. Um, Coming back to the whole Spanish medical interpreter thing, that's obviously meaningful. So yes, I've had other stuff going on, and yes, I have a great deal to look forward to. Um, but still, it's just the fact that such a huge chunk of my life is going to be over after what in the beginning seemed like an impossibly long amount of time. Just looking back on it and realizing that that time's passed, it's weird. Um, Sometimes I wonder if America puts more emphasis on this years of these years of our lives and these years of our education more so than other countries. I feel like you hear more whenever I hear like um, Europeans talking about America. There's usually a reference to high school at some point, or most of the time they're talking. A lot of American media revolves totally around it. It's just propped up as this big, huge, important thing, but like ultimately, it's a small fraction of our lives, and it's very early on. And obviously, it's been a great time, a very meaningful time for me, a time of a lot of growth and change, and um, really important experiences that I think I'll remember for probably the rest of my life. But um, I doubt this will be the most important thing I ever go through. Um, you hear a lot about peaking in high school in America. I don't know if that's a thing in other places, f pertaining to their equivalent of our high school system. Um, I wonder if it's because we're a relatively young country in like the grand scheme of things. Maybe we put more of an emphasis on youth. I have no idea. In any case, I am obviously affected by it, and I have been, feeling a lot of these pretty confusing feelings, very bittersweet feelings. Um, so I just wanted to talk about those and try to process them a little more. Um, it was nice to reminisce on all of my experiences when I was in that little portion of the video at the beginning. There's a lot more that I could talk about. All of the fast food trips I've gone on with my friends that have been nice. I joined the local public gym just recently, the one that's right near my school, and I've been running into a lot of people and meeting a lot of new people, and that's been great. Um, I don't know. There's just no way I could capture it all. It feels like with everything I've mentioned about my own personal experiences, I've covered 1% of the stuff that's happened and that I've done. Um, and I guess that's just something to take my word on. I don't know, but yeah, just wanted to talk about that. Talk about high school. Talk about it ending and how it's been. Um, and about what I have coming up. Um, but I think I've exhausted the list. So, goodbye.